Hannah. If you've been watching us for a while, like and subscribe. We really appreciate all the comments and it makes us very happy.
Today we wanted to talk about how to have a difficult conversation with your family. Money, hours you're working, being overworked, leaving, discipline, etc.
There are thousands of conversations that you can have with your host family that you'll feel awkward about, but these are our ways of dealing with awkward situations that arise.
We felt that this was an important video to make because we were always talking about how communication and having good communication with your family can ameliorate any issue you might be having, but it's easier said than done, and approaching those conversations is very difficult, we'll admit it. In this video, we're gonna give our advice and then tell you a little bit about some awkward conversations we've had in our own personal au pair lives. To start,
choose to speak to your host parents when they are in a good mood, or it's at a convenient time, or they're not stressed out with the kids, or they haven't just got back in from work. Choose your moment well is number one.
That's the magic and also the greatest challenge of being an au pair, is there never seems to be the right moment, and there's never going to be a perfect moment, but do your best to choose a moment that is one of the better moments.
I.e. when your host parent is relaxed, after the kids have gone to bed, after they've eaten something, not like in the middle of their relaxation time, like TV time or whatever, but maybe just before that or just after, or yeah, pick your moment carefully. Something
great that you can do is maybe text them or email them and say, in a very nice, polite way, hey, I've been thinking about something that I want to bring up to you. It's not a big deal, but I'd love to have a small conversation about it when the kids are asleep. That way your parents kind of know what's coming, and you're not approaching a subject from out of the blue, because that can be daunting and can create a reaction that you don't want at all.
Actually, I think number two is send them a message beforehand. That is a very good piece of advice that should be in and of itself, because like you say, it gives warning, it encourages them to open up the conversation later on, so you haven't had to do the awkward can I talk to you, because they already know that you want to talk to them. And if they don't reply to your text, don't worry about it.
At least they know. They probably read it, they just didn't reply and they're too busy or whatever.
I always used to stress if my host parent didn't reply to my text, but usually it was just because they'd had a really busy day and then they'd come home and address it.
Number three is simply speak up. A lot of the time, my conversations about money, the subject was that I wanted to be paid a little bit more because I felt I had done way more babysitting than I should have, or something to that effect. And I would brace myself and just say, hey, do you think I could get paid 10 more euros this week because I sat in ABC? And then my host parents were like, oh yeah, of course. You know?
10 euros is nothing to them, but it's a huge amount to an au pair. So just by asking, they're more likely to say yes. And if they say no, it's not a big deal.
Sometimes I would be like, hey, can you remember to pay me? You forgot to pay me. And they'll be like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, I forgot to pay you. It's part of your responsibility. You are doing a job, you need to get paid.
Talking of money, we have spoken about this before, but number 5 is to have receipts on you so that you look organized and prepared and you're not just plucking numbers from the top of your head. So if you have bought something for the kids, then have the receipt on you and simply put it on your host parent's desk with maybe a note asking to be paid, and then mention it to them, oh, I just left some receipts on your desk. That takes away the awkwardness of saying, could you please give me 10 euros for this and this and this and this? As we've mentioned before, you can get receipts from the metro, you can ask for receipts at stands, you know, you can always get a receipt, so it's worthwhile keeping those on you so that you know the exact figure.
Number 6, I want to talk about discipline, because it was one of the awkward conversations that I had as an au pair with my host parents, but it was the most necessary conversation, because having that conversation up front makes your life easier as an au pair. The first time I was an au pair, I didn't know that discipline was a thing. I was like, oh, all children are wonderful and it'll be a breeze. Quickly realized it was not a breeze, so when I was with my second family, I made sure to have that conversation right away of what was there. I asked them what was their discipline techniques, what do they do as punishment, what can I adapt, what are their lines. And usually you'll get something like, well, you can't hit the kids, obviously. but this is what I do. And then
Yeah.
you're able to adapt that and tell them what you do, and if you have a new discipline idea, or like if they were bad with you that day, you can say, hey, I confiscated their toy today and I'm not going to give it back until Tuesday. You can tell them that when they come home from work, and then they'll know that is what your rules are and to support you. And if they don't support you, you know, that's another story in
Red flag.
and of itself. That's a red flag. But having that conversation and being vocal about your discipline techniques is super, super important because it helps you establish your authority.
Yep. In fact, one of my host families were great about this, and had I not known to ask, I may not have known that I could be as strict, or they wanted me to be very strict. They asked me to be stricter even, which was like the line that you're not sure whether you can cross as an au pair into how strict. And they also said to me that they would always be on my side no matter what, and then they would discuss it afterwards with me. So I was like part of this parenting unit in a way. I felt more like a authoritative figure rather than just one of their other children who happens to babysit every now and again. So that wouldn't have come up had I not known to ask where the line was.
To make this video short, I'll just close the video and tell one story of an awkward conversation that I had, because we could make a whole new video on awkward conversations we've had. One in particular, which is branded into my mind, is the conversation I had with my very first host family. It was during the summer of me being an au pair. I felt like I had been overworked. I was working way more than 30 hours a week because the kids weren't in school, and I felt like I should be compensated for overtime. I didn't really know how to breach this subject with my host mom, so I waited until she was alone in the apartment holding our infant baby of the family, and I had 3 other kids that I was watching who were like at some sort of activity after school or after camp or something like that. And I made up some excuse as to like my agency needing proof of a contract and that I was paid for and compensated for working overtime. And I made up some excuse to get her to pay me, and it was just so weird when in retrospect I could have just told her, hey, I'm feeling really tired, I feel a little bit overworked, is there a way you can either compensate me for overtime in money, or could I get a few more days off this week in order to balance it out, because I'm feeling really tired and I don't really know what to do. I should have just gone to her as a humble au pair and asked for her advice, and it would have gone way more smoothly instead of what did happen, which is that I caught her way off guard. I came at a quite angry perspective, or with an angry attitude, and she reacted naturally. She reacted very defensively, and then we got into a whole debacle, and it didn't end well, and it kind of hurt my relationship with my host mom in the end, which I really, really regret. So be open, talk as much as you can, approach subjects lightly, approach them from a honest. Hey, can you help me? Be honest. Be humble. The end. I hope you enjoyed that story. I hope you enjoyed our tips. Please, again, like and subscribe our channel if you love what we're doing, and go to our website to see what we're up to. We're always working on stuff for everyone, for y'all, to help you in the best way possible.
And let us know in the comments if you would like to hear our awkward conversation stories, and we will make another video.
Follow us
at Au Pair Paris on all social media.
And that's all for now. Ciao!